At Christmas, while I was at work, my family branded my 7-year-old daughter a liar, made her wear a sign that said "Family Disgrace," and left her hungry in the corner for hours. I didn't cry. I took action. 2 days later, my phone was blowing up with their hysterical calls. I'm a cardiologist. In my field, holidays and weekends are basically a rumor. Family dinners? Rare as unicorns. But that year, a miracle. A colleague remembered I'd covered his Thanksgiving shift and decided to return the favor. "Go home," he said. "You've got a kid. She should see you at Christmas." So I thought I'd do the whole surprise entrance thing. No text, no heads up, just show up at my parents' house. The door wasn't even locked. I walked in and, honestly, it looked like the aftermath of a frat party. The Christmas tree was tilted like it had survived an earthquake. Ornaments smashed on the floor, food spilled into the carpet, tablecloth stained. And my family? They were all sitting there, calm, eating dessert, laughing, holiday music in the background. Like none of that chaos mattered. Like everything was fine. Parents. My sister Bianca with her husband and son. My brother Logan with his wife and daughter. My daughter? Nowhere. "Hey, what happened here?" I asked. Silence. Mom flinched. Bianca dropped her fork. Everyone stared at me like I was a ghost. Finally, Mom said flatly, "That mess? Your Ruby did that. Take a look." My stomach sank. "Where is she?" Bianca flicked her hand toward the hallway, like shooing away a fly. "Over there." I walked down and stopped cold. Corner of the next room. My little girl, 7 years old, standing against the wall. Fancy dress ripped and dirty, scratches on her legs, quietly crying. "Ruby!" She spun, saw me, and broke down. "Mom!" She ran straight into my knees. I scooped her up. "Baby, what happened?" Then I saw it. Black marker scrawled across her forehead. "Liar." And a cardboard sign hanging from her neck. "Family Disgrace." For a second, I honestly thought I was hallucinating. Too many shifts, no sleep. But no, this was real. While I was at work, my so-called relatives had been tormenting my child. I took her hand and went back to the dining room. She clung to me like I might disappear. And there they all were, still at the table, eating, laughing, Dad sipping his juice, Mom finishing her pie, Logan telling some stupid story, his wife smiling, Jingle bells playing in the background, my daughter wiping tears with her sleeve. "You've got to be kidding me," I said, voice shaking. "You're just sitting here, eating, laughing, while my kid is standing in another room with a sign on her neck?" No one looked at me. Mom sipped her coffee, slow and calm. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I snapped. Bianca finally turned, all smug and self-righteous. "She ruined Christmas, Felicia. Knocked over the tree, food everywhere, dishes broken, and then she wouldn't admit it. Tried to blame Nolan." Nolan, her precious 9-year-old, spoiled rotten, sitting there with his innocent face like butter wouldn't melt. Ruby pressed into me, sobbing. "Mom, he pushed me. It's true." I stroked her hair, stared at Bianca. "You heard her. She says Nolan pushed her." Bianca tossed her hair. "That's not true. He saw her climb the chair. She reached for an ornament, fell, knocked it all down." Ruby shook her head, crying harder. "It wasn't me. I didn't." I held her tighter. "Oh, Nolan saw it, huh? And why is it you all automatically believe him, but not Ruby?" Bianca flushed red. "Don't accuse my son. Nolan always tells the truth." I pulled out my phone, took photos of Ruby, marker on her face, sign around her neck. Right in front of them. Dad squinted. "What do you think you're doing?" "Documenting," I said flatly. "Because tomorrow, you'll all pretend this never happened." I yanked off the stupid cardboard sign, tossed it on the floor, and tried to wipe the marker from her forehead. It wouldn't come off. Her skin was raw, red. She flinched when I touched her. I turned back to them. Look at her. She's trembling. She's telling you she didn't do it. And even if she had, even if she really did knock over your damn tree, you think it's normal to write on a child's face and hang a sign around her neck? Are you people insane? Mom dabbed her mouth with a napkin, like we were in some courtroom drama. We decided that since she lied, everyone should see her for what she is. That's called discipline. Inside me? Boiling. I wanted to scream until the walls cracked. But Ruby was shaking in my arms, and she didn't need more yelling. So I leaned in and said low and sharp, "Discipline is teaching, explaining, helping a kid clean up if they make a mess. Not forcing a 7-year-old to stand in a corner with a damn sign while you all stuff your faces and sing along to Bing Crosby. That's not discipline. That's cruelty." Dad muttered without even looking up from his plate. "She needs to take responsibility for her actions." Responsibility? I could feel my throat burning. Who left a chair by the tree? Who set it up so badly it tipped over? That tree could have crushed her. Why didn't anyone help Ruby when she fell and scraped herself up? Look at her. She's covered in scratches. Who takes responsibility for that? Because she's 7. You're the adults. And instead of owning your screw-ups, you branded her face with a marker. Mom shot to her feet like I'd insulted the Pope. "Felicia, your daughter ruined our Christmas, our holy holiday, and you dare lecture us? If she hadn't climbed that chair, none of this would have happened." She took a breath, eyes cold as ice. "We did the right thing. You can't handle her. We're helping." "Helping?" I laughed, sharp and ugly. "If that's what you call help, then what's abuse?" Mom waved a hand at me, dismissive, like I was some annoying salesperson at the door. "You're too soft. You coddle her. Never punish her when she deserves it. And now look." "She needs to learn," my brother Logan chimed in, voice full of smug wisdom. "She has to remember this lesson." "Oh, she learned," I shot back. "She'll remember, and so will I. Believe me." I looked around the table. Bianca, preening, hair salon perfect. Logan, always convinced the universe revolved around him. Mom, cold as an iceberg. Dad, forever the spectator, never the protector. Not one of them looked guilty. Not one even questioned themselves. They sat there certain they were right, as if I was interrupting their noble act of discipline. My so-called family. Masters of excuses, strangers to compassion. Then Ruby tugged on my hand and whispered, voice trembling, "Mommy, I'm so hungry." I froze. They hadn't even fed her. They knew she was starving and left her standing in a corner with cardboard around her neck, and that was it. Something snapped in me. Why was I even still talking to them? Explaining? They'd never get it. And I didn't need them to. I didn't need them at all. "Sweetheart, we're going home," I told Ruby. "You can take her to the kitchen," Mom said with fake generosity. "There's still plenty left." I didn't answer, just held Ruby's hand, helped her into her coat, buttoned it up. Quiet. Efficient. Before leaving, I turned to them and said, "She's not guilty, but even if she was, you had no right to do this to a child. Ever. And you will remember this night." We stepped out into the cold, snow crunching under our feet. Ruby pressed close to me. I lifted her into my arms as we walked to the car. "Mom, I'm hungry," she whispered again. And you know what? That was the worst part. That my little girl would remember Christmas not as lights and laughter, but as hunger, tears, and the word liar written across her forehead. At home, Ruby finally stopped shaking. I fed her turkey with mashed potatoes, gave her a slice of apple pie and hot cocoa. She ate like she hadn't seen food in a week. After a bath, I tucked her into bed, pulled the blanket up, and slid my phone under the frame with the recorder on. I wanted it all. Photos weren't enough. "Baby," I whispered, "tell me what happened." Ruby's voice was thin, broken with hiccups and tears. Her eyes were red and swollen. Nolan said the ornament was crooked. Said I'm small. It'd be easier for me. He'd hold the chair. I climbed up. He was holding it. Then he pushed me in the side. I fell. The tree fell. Everything fell. She broke down again. And he screamed, "It was her!" She rubbed her eyes with her fists, but the tears just kept coming. They all came running, yelling at me. I was hurting so much. I said Nolan pushed me, but Aunt Bianca said I was a nasty liar. And she hung a sign on me that said I was the shame of the family. Her voice collapsed to a whisper. She covered her face with her hands. And Grandma, she took the marker, started writing on my forehead. I cried. I begged her not to. But she kept writing. Said I had to think about what I'd done. My little girl was trembling, every word jerky, ripped out of her. I pulled her into my arms. I was so scared, Mommy. I wanted to run, but Grandpa and Uncle Logan held me. I thought you weren't coming. Inside, I was burning alive. To make her repeat it, to relive it. That felt cruel. But I had to know. I had to record it, and they were going to regret every second. I kissed her damp cheek and told her, "Sweetheart, none of this is your fault. Do you hear me? Not one bit. What they did, that's their shame, not yours. You're a good girl. You're brave. And I'm never letting anyone treat you like that again. Ever." We stayed like that a long time, holding on to each other. Finally, exhaustion won. She curled up and drifted off. I watched her breathe and thought, I knew what my family was like, and I still brought her there. People love to say, "You're lucky. Big family means you'll always have support." Support? Right. My whole life, I was the third wheel. It started early. I'm the middle child. Bianca, the oldest, the golden one. Logan, the baby. Our boy. And me? I was always, she'll manage. Bianca could talk to Mom for hours about school, friends, teachers, college plans. Mom knew every detail of her life. Logan had Dad, building model planes together, driving to baseball practice, cheering at games, their school projects, sports, achievements, family business. Me? I did my homework in the corner of the kitchen. No questions, no interest. Housework? Bianca was studying. Logan was a boy. Chores aren't for him. Guess who scrubbed the bathroom, shoveled snow, cooked with Mom? The third wheel. Birthdays? Bianca got parties with balloons and friends. Logan had sports parties, trophies, the whole deal. Mine? Store-bought cake at the kitchen table. Presents? Bianca got new dresses, perfume. Logan got a bike, sneakers. I got a coat, a size up so it lasts longer. Functional, practical, not special. And I was expected to smile and say thanks. No, they didn't starve me. They didn't beat me. But I learned very early the difference between beloved and useful. Bianca was beloved. Logan was the heir. And me? I was convenient. I clawed my way out. Med school, endless shifts, residency, fellowship. Now I'm a cardiologist. Brutal job, but I love it. And yes, it pays. Not that it matters, because to my family, I'm basically an ATM with a stethoscope. Mom. The pension's tiny, the meds are expensive, the roof is leaking. Bianca. Nolan needs camp. Ross didn't get his bonus. Logan. Piper's activities cost money. They all look at me like I'm a slot machine. And I pay up. Because if I don't, I'm the traitor. I was married once, a lawyer. Looked solid, promising. Then he left. Younger colleague, new state, new life. And me, left with Ruby. And how did my family take it? Mom. Well, with your personality, no wonder. Bianca. Told you lawyers can't be trusted? Logan just shrugged. That's the level of support I got. And with Ruby, it all repeated. Same damn pattern. Piper, Logan's daughter, 8. Smart and beautiful. Constant praise. Nolan, Bianca's boy. A born leader. Grandma's favorite. And Ruby? Quiet, straightforward, honest. Which to them equals ordinary. Everything she did was dismissed. Drew a picture? Anyone could do that. Memorized a poem? Well, Piper already dances in a troupe. I told myself, whatever. Words don't matter. She'll grow, find her own people. But words became actions. Nolan. I know that type. Crafty little tyrant. Always sneaking in a pinch, a shove, a kick when no adult was watching. And if anyone called him out? Wide eyes, innocent voice. Me? Never. He could sell sand in the desert. Adults loved him, polite, charming, a leader. Grandma and Grandpa adored him. The truth? He was mean and clever and knew exactly how to dump his messes on someone else. And Ruby? She'd blush, stammer, freeze, which of course made her look guilty even when she wasn't, just like today. He told her to climb the chair, fix the ornament. She trusted him. He shoved her, maybe even by accident, and everything crashed down. Then his voice. She did it! And of course, they all believed him. I've spent years telling myself my family had changed. We're adults now. We have kids of our own. Surely they'd be different. But here's the reality. Christmas table piled with food, music in the background, and my daughter branded a liar in the next room. Watching her sleep that night, I knew. They had done to her exactly what they did to me. The only difference? I'm grown now. And I have power. That was their last act of cruelty. The morning after Christmas started with coffee, and the gray shadow of the word still bleeding through my kid's forehead. Permanent marker. Excellent parenting tool if your goal is for liar to last longer than your conscience. I washed Ruby gently, rubbed cream on her skin, but the letters kept showing through. She sipped hot chocolate, chewed on a pancake, and I just stared at her forehead thinking one thing. Enough. How many years had I carried these people? How many times did I excuse it? Well, they're family. They're not bad people. They just need help. I'd paid for boilers, camps, sports leagues, car repairs, insurance premiums. I'd covered my parents' bills so their modest lifestyle could stay comfortable. Yesterday they showed me what they're worth. Done. Finished. I didn't waste time. Packed Ruby into the car and drove straight to the hospital. My hospital. My colleagues documented everything. Scratches on her legs, bruises on her arms, even the marker stains that wouldn't come off her skin. All of it in an official medical report. Now it wasn't just her word or my photos. It was evidence. Back home, I pulled out what I'd bought for the holiday. 2 envelopes with Disneyland tickets. One for Bianca's family, one for Logan's. Another envelope for my parents. A weekend at a spa hotel. Everyone knew. They'd been waiting. Nolan had been counting down the days. Piper had already drawn the castle with fireworks. My parents pretended they didn't like the noise, but had quietly asked what time the bus would leave. I sat at the kitchen table and methodically tore every glossy ticket into thin strips, put the pieces back into the envelopes, sealed them shut. It was the best gift I'd ever given them, and the most therapeutic. First workday after the holidays, I mailed the envelopes. Then I opened my laptop and handled the rest. Turned off every automatic transfer to my parents, extra pension money, medical insurance top-ups, utilities, all those unexpected expenses that somehow happened like clockwork. Faucet closed. Next, Bianca. Nolan was supposed to start his winter camp. A month ago, I'd paid the deposit, and the final payment was due now. I called the camp office. The payment won't be coming. The woman was polite. We'll notify the parents. If they pay, his spot is safe. If not, it'll go to another child. Perfect. Notify away. Then Logan. Last week I'd agreed to cover his car repair so he could get to work. I called the shop. Cancel my payment. Bill the customer directly. They confirmed it was voided. Not my problem anymore. And then the calls started. Bianca first. Her voice high-pitched enough to break glass. What the hell is this trash you sent us? Where are the tickets? I sipped my coffee. Those were your tickets. Now they're confetti. You've lost your mind. Nolan's been waiting. You promised. He dreamed about this. Maybe he should start dreaming about honesty. Cheaper dream. Click. Then Logan. His envelope had landed. He was screaming like I'd burned his house down. Are you serious? Piper's crying. My wife's a wreck. Yeah, I said. Now you know what it feels like when a child cries. Click. A day later, Bianca again, this time about the camp. They said your payment was canceled. I need to pay now or Nolan loses his spot. You can't do this. I don't have to, I told her. You're the parent. You pay. I don't have that kind of money, she shrieked. Then find a free playground. They've got swings. Click. Soon after, my parents realized the monthly transfers had stopped. My mother called, voice cold enough to freeze glass. Where's the money? It was due today. It's not coming. What do you mean it's not coming? You owe your parents. We raised you. You raised an ATM. The ATM's closed. Dad chimed in on speaker. You're betraying us. You've always been ungrateful. No, Dad. I've always been your dairy cow. The cow's dry. Logan called too. His car shop had told him the payment was canceled. You can't be serious. My car's sitting here. How am I supposed to get to work? Bus. At least the bus doesn't run on lies. And you know what's wild? Not a single one of them asked about Ruby. Not one, how is she? Not one, we're sorry. Not even fake remorse. Just outrage that I'd shut off their money supply. Just the same lines. You're cruel. You're abandoning us. We can't survive without you. That's when it clicked. This is who they really are. When I paid, I was support. When I stopped, I became the monster. That night I turned off my phone and sat beside Ruby. She was drawing. On the page, 2 stick figures and a Christmas tree that stood upright. That us? I asked. Us, she nodded. And the tree doesn't fall 'cause nobody pushes me. Fair enough. New rule for my life. Anything that pushes my kid down, I'll make sure it falls on them instead. As for me, I was already building the file. Photos, dates, medical notes, names. This wasn't drama. It was a case file. CPS, police. First workday after the holidays. Not because I doubted, but because I like my footsteps to land loud. First, the sound of tickets ripping. Then, the silence of empty bank accounts. Next, the knock on their doors. After the holidays, I did what needed to be done. First stop, CPS. The caseworker, mid-40s, business casual, no nonsense, listened to me without blinking. Apparently, I wasn't the first parent to show up after a festive family gathering turned into a hazing ritual. I put the photos on her desk, the medical report, a flash drive with Ruby's recorded statement. She nodded. That's enough. This is child abuse. We'll check the households where kids live. A few days later, CPS showed up at Bianca's house and Logan's. I wasn't there, but I can picture it. My family's faces when a government employee calmly told them, "You're now under state supervision. Do this again, you lose custody." To them, I'm the witch. On paper, they're at-risk families. Honestly, I prefer the second label. I knew CPS had been by when the calls started. Bianca first, shrill, hysterical. What have you done? CPS came to my house. They're making me take parenting classes. I have a college degree. Why would I need their stupid classes? So they can explain that you don't write on a child's face or hang cardboard signs on their chest, I told her. Then Logan, yelling like a man on fire, "Because of you, CPS came here. My wife's pregnant. Do you get what this means? They're going to monitor us now." "Yeah," I said. "That's called accountability. Sad it took state oversight for you to learn the word." My parents, tag-teaming the call. "You've disgraced the family. You aired our dirty laundry. The neighbors think we're monsters now." "No," I said. "You disgraced yourselves. I just stopped covering for you." Then came the police. I filed a report. Because CPS supervision is one thing, criminal charges are another. I laid it all out. Who held Ruby's arms, who hung the sign, who wrote on her forehead. And yes, it matters. When a child whispers, shaking, "Grandma wrote, Auntie hung it, Grandpa held me, Uncle held me," that's not a family quarrel. That's assault on a minor. I wasn't there for their interrogations, so I don't know what excuses they tried, but I know the outcome, because they called me. First my mother, voice trembling with rage. "What are you doing to us? They dragged us into the station, questioned us like criminals. We're branded now," I said, calm as ice. "I just told them about your parenting style. Shocker, turns out it's illegal." Bianca next, practically screeching, "They fined me! Where am I supposed to get that kind of money?" "Not from me," I said. Then Logan, furious. "You dragged us into a police case. I have a record now. Do you get it? A record." "Yeah," I said. "You've got a record. And Ruby had liar on her forehead. Spot the difference?" Even my dad weighed in. "They fined us. $250. Are you happy now?" "Very," I said. "Honestly, cheap price for what you did." Later, I got the paperwork myself, a copy of the police order. Valerie, my mother, and Bianca, $500 fines each, plus mandatory positive parenting and anger management classes. Todd, my dad, and Logan, $250 fines each, plus official warnings for child endangerment. And all of them, a permanent record in the system. Not erasable, not forgotten. They kept calling, leaving voicemails and emails, throwing curses and pity parties. "You ruined our reputation. Now everyone knows. Teachers look at us like we're diseased." I answered once. "You earned it." Then I stopped responding. One afternoon, I went to pick Ruby up from her art class. Out front, I saw Nolan holding court with a pack of boys, bragging like he'd just won a trophy. It was epic! I pushed her and she got punished. Everyone believed me. They always believe me. I'm good at it. I can even teach you. I froze. There it was. The family legacy in a 9-year-old body. A kid who already knows how to lie, manipulate, and laugh about it. And instead of rage, I felt something else. Relief. I never doubted Ruby, but now I had proof, from his own mouth. She'd never lied. Not once. I didn't confront him. Didn't need to. Just looked at him and thought, "Thanks, Bianca. Thanks, Mom. You raised exactly what you deserve." They called Ruby the family disgrace. But the disgrace? That's them. And now it's written not in Sharpie across a child's forehead, but in their police records. That night, Ruby and I baked cookies and argued over who sang Christmas songs worse. She laughed so hard her cheeks turned red, and with every laugh, the weight of the last weeks lifted off me. We're good now, just us two, and it's enough. So, what do you think? Did I do the right thing cutting them off, going to CPS, and taking it all the way to the police? Or should I have handled it differently? I'd really love to hear your thoughts in the comments, and if this story spoke to you, hit subscribe. My daughter spent 3 weeks organizing her cousin's birthday party, and I paid $2,300 for it. Then we found out she wasn't even invited because she's in a wheelchair, so we didn't go, just sent this gift. When they opened it, half the guests left because the invitation never came. Not a glitch, not a delay, not lost in spam. Everyone else got theirs. The big animated email with dancing animals and jungle drums, and "You're invited" flashing like it was the Oscars. My son got one. I got one. Even my ex-husband, who hasn't shown up to a family event since 2019, got one. Mia didn't. She checked her inbox like it owed her money. Every hour, before school, after dinner, sitting in the car at Target, she'd glance at her phone, click refresh, wait, nothing. And every time she smiled a little smaller. At first, I thought maybe my sister just forgot to include her address. I mean, that's believable, right? She's scatterbrained. 3 kids, full-time job, chronic main character energy. It happens. So I called just to check. I had the phone on speaker. Mia was in the kitchen with me folding little paper napkins into triangles for the party table. She was so proud of her work. Said she wanted the party to look fancy but chill. My sister picked up right away. "Hey," I said, casual, like this wasn't going to be the moment that broke something in both of us. "I think Mia's invite didn't come through." Silence then. "Yeah." So Tyler asked if she could, not come. I thought I misheard her. "I'm sorry." "What?" He wants it to be fun, light. And with the chair and everything, it might be a bit much." A bit much. I didn't say a word. I just looked at Mia. She was still folding napkins, but her hands had stopped moving. Her eyes didn't lift. She just stared at the table like she was trying not to exist. I hung up. I didn't trust myself to keep my voice steady. We sat there in silence for a while. Just the sound of the dishwasher humming and one of those awful jungle-themed party songs playing from the Bluetooth speaker. Then Mia said, without looking up, "He doesn't want me there." Not a question, just a fact. My chest burned, but I stayed calm. Because I've learned that when you're a mom and your kid is hurting, the last thing they need is to watch you fall apart. I took a breath. "He's an idiot," I said. "You made half this party happen." She nodded, swallowed, still didn't look at me. "I thought maybe they forgot," she whispered. "I didn't think they'd, actually leave me out." I didn't know what to say to that. Not without swearing, so I said nothing. A few minutes later, she got up and rolled herself to her room without a word. Closed the door softly behind her. That softness, that's the part that killed me. I stayed in the kitchen and stared at the napkins she left behind. Perfect little folded triangles lined up in rows like tiny white flags. Surrender. Later that night, I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet, the one where I tracked all the stuff I paid for to help out. My sister had called me generous, said she didn't know how she'd pull it off without me. $800 for the venue deposit, $300 for the magician, $450 for themed decorations and centerpieces, $200 for catering extras, $550 for party favors, balloon delivery, and printed signs. $2,300 total. And that doesn't even include the late-night runs to pick up supplies or the hours Mia spent designing the welcome board on Canva. I stared at the numbers and thought, they didn't just exclude her. They let her build the party and then locked her out. And I let them. I sat with that for a while. Let the guilt sink its teeth in. Thought I was helping. I thought being the yes person was the right thing to do, but all I'd done was fund the party that hurt my kid. And that's when I decided. We weren't going. Not one of us. Not Mia. Not her brother. Not me. But we were still sending something. The next morning, I told Mia at breakfast. "We're not going," I said. She didn't look surprised, just nodded, eyes on her cereal. "But," I added, "we're sending a gift." "What kind of gift?" She looked up. I shrugged. "One they won't forget." She raised an eyebrow. "Like a flaming bag of dog poop?" I snorted. "Tempting, but no." She paused. Will I get in trouble for it? Definitely not. Will they hopefully? She gave me a small, real smile for the first time since that phone call. I'm in, she said. And just like that, the fog lifted a little. We didn't say anything else. We just started planning. I didn't need revenge. I needed the truth to walk into that party wrapped in a bow and sit itself down next to the cake. They wanted her quiet. We were going to make some noise. By the time I finished packing the gift, I wasn't just mad about the party. It's never just the one thing. It's the weight of every little thing that came before it. All the moments you swallowed. All the times you let it slide because it's family. The unspoken rule that you're not allowed to call it what it is. But now, I was done pretending. I didn't always know my place in the family, but my sister did. She figured it out early. How to cry just enough to stay innocent, how to break things and get thanked for the lesson. I was the kid with Band-Aids in my backpack and a schedule in her hand. I got praised for being so mature, which really meant you're low maintenance and useful. By the time we were teenagers, I was helping with school runs and last-minute birthday gifts for her friends. She forgot people's birthdays. I remembered them for her. My mom said I was naturally giving. I wasn't. I was just conditioned to keep everyone from falling apart. And when things did fall apart, I cleaned up the mess. That's how I got the role. The fixer, the helper, the wallet. It's a funny thing being the responsible one. You think it comes with respect. What it really comes with is expectations and silence. Because once you're seen as the strong one, no one checks if you're okay. They just hand you more weight. I remember the day my sister found out she was pregnant with Tyler. She showed up at my apartment crying, mascara down her face, no plan, no job, no clue. I held her for an hour, made her tea, and told her it would be okay. Then I let her move in rent-free. She stayed for 8 months, bought nothing, cooked nothing. But the second she moved out and her boyfriend got his act together, she suddenly had a whole new set of boundaries. We need space now. You understand, right? I did. Of course I did. Because that's the job. Fast forward 12 years and here we are. My kid gets uninvited from the party she helped plan. And my sister doesn't even blink. Just tosses it out like it's a detail, like the chair is a logistical issue instead of an actual person. But what gutted me most wasn't what she said. It was how familiar it felt. Because Mia has been getting cropped out of this family since the day she started needing a ramp. The first time it happened, it was subtle. Christmas photo a few years back. Everyone smiling in front of the tree. Mia's chair didn't fit the shot, so they zoomed in on the top half. It looked fine unless you knew what was missing. I didn't say anything. It was one photo. I told myself it didn't matter. Then came the birthday party with the outdoor-only venue, which turned out to be grass and gravel. Mia couldn't get 10 feet without her wheels sinking. My sister told me, "We didn't think of that part." Sorry. Said it like she forgot the weather forecast, not her niece. I still didn't call it out because calling it out would have meant admitting it was intentional. And if you admit that your family is okay hurting your kid, you can't unknow that. But I know it now, and I'm not going to be the quiet one anymore. After I told Mia we were skipping the party, things felt lighter. Not easy, just less heavy. She didn't ask what the gift was. I think she wanted it to be a surprise. Or maybe she just wanted to feel like she could trust me to handle it. Her brother, meanwhile, was furious in the way only little brothers can be. "They're all garbage people," he muttered at dinner. "I hope the cake falls over." I didn't correct him. He wasn't wrong. "I hope the magician quits in the middle of a trick and tells everyone Santa's fake." "Too far," Mia said, finally smiling a little. It was a small moment, but it was something. That night, I pulled up the invite again. I stared at the RSVP list. Everyone else was going to be there. Aunts, cousins, family friends, people who'd known Mia since she was born. Not one of them had said a thing. Not one of them asked why she didn't get an invite. They knew and they stayed quiet. That was the other thing that hit me hard. The exclusion wasn't just from one kid. It was a group decision. Spoken or not, it was agreed upon. And it hurt more than I expected because I realized we were alone in this. Not just me and Mia, but all the people who've ever been quietly erased. Left off the list, pushed to the edge of the room so they don't ruin the vibe. This wasn't just a party. This was a line and we were drawing it ourselves. The next morning, I emailed the magician and the candy cart vendor. I'd paid for them directly, of course I had. I told them there had been a venue change, asked if they could redirect to a different address. Both said yes. I sent a follow-up to the balloon delivery team and the guy who was setting up the photo booth. Then I called a few people, parents who I did trust. Not a lot, just the ones who had shown up before, who'd asked how Mia was doing, not just to be polite, but because they cared. I told them the truth. Some of them cried. Some asked what they could bring. We had a new party by lunchtime. Same day, different address, same decorations, because I'd paid for those too. And for the first time in a long time, I felt something that didn't taste like guilt or survival. I felt like I was doing the right thing, not just as a mom, as a person. Because this wasn't about being petty. It was about protecting my kid from thinking she deserved less and showing her through action that she's not going to be the forgotten one. Not on my watch. The box looked expensive. Wrapped in white paper with a deep green ribbon, jungle-themed of course, sitting front and center near the cake table like it had VIP status. It had a tag on the front, handwritten in gold ink. To Tyler, from Mia. My sister must have seen it when she was arranging the other gifts. I'm sure she was confused, maybe a little smug. I imagine she thought it was some kind of peace offering, that even after everything, Mia still wanted to give her cousin a present. Of course she thought that. People like her always assume kindness is submission, but the thing about quiet girls is they grow teeth. We weren't at the party, obviously. We were across town in our backyard, balloons tied to the fence, music playing, chairs set up on the lawn. Mia wore her favorite green dress and a gold headband. Her brother was manning the candy cart. The magician had just finished his first trick. We had lemonade in mason jars, kids running around, actual laughter. I kept checking my phone. I wasn't sure when it would happen, but I knew it would. I just didn't expect it to be so fast. At the real party, the one I paid for, the gift table was packed. But the box from Mia was different, bigger, shinier, intentional. At some point, someone must have asked about it. Probably a kid. They always notice the biggest present first. What's this one? Oh, that's from Mia, my sister must have said, probably a bit tight-lipped, probably with a fake smile. Oh, cool. Why isn't she here? Awkward pause. She couldn't make it. Inevitably, someone decided it was time to open the box. Inside, a single tablet, fully charged. Press play. So they did. The video starts with a soft piano melody in the background. Then, a clip of Mia at the kitchen table, carefully assembling the goodie bags. Then her voice, calm and clear. Hi, I'm Mia. I helped make a lot of this party. I picked out the candy. I helped design the signs. I tied the ribbons on every single jar because I wanted everything to look amazing for my cousin. Cut to her holding a jar and smiling. I was really excited to come, but I didn't get invited because I use a wheelchair. Gasps. That's not an exaggeration. I've seen the video now multiple times. You can hear it. A few soft, oh my God, whispers. Someone saying, wait, what? A dad in the background mutters, you've got to be kidding me. But the video keeps going. Mia again, still calm, but a little more serious. I didn't want to make a scene. I just wanted people to know what happened, because if it happened to me, it's probably happened to other kids too. And then the kicker. If you believe every kid deserves to feel welcome, we're having our own party today. There's food and games and music, and everyone's invited, even if you're different. Especially if you're different. The screen fades to black. Then one line appears. Address is on the back of the tag. The silence afterward was heavy, and then it broke. Not into laughter, into movement. First, a couple of parents started whispering. Then one mom said, loud enough to be heard, "Wait, she wasn't invited because of her wheelchair?" Another added, "She helped plan the party." Then a dad, "I thought she was sick or something." This is messed up. And then slowly, one family got up and left. No drama, just packed up and walked out. Then another and another. Kids started asking questions. Why wasn't Mia invited? Did Tyler not like her? Wait, didn't she make the name tags? And then one little girl said loud and clear, "That's mean." I almost felt bad for my sister. Almost. But here's the thing. You don't get to exclude a child and then play victim when the truth shows up in high definition. The best part? The magician never arrived. The candy cart? Not there either, because they were in my backyard with us. We had the magician pulling card tricks for Mia's friends, kids giggling around the snack table, and parents showing up one by one, looking a little dazed, a little angry, but mostly relieved. Relieved that someone finally said it. One mom hugged me and whispered, "I didn't know what happened. I just knew it felt wrong." Another dad dropped off his twins and stayed for the entire event, helped clean up. By 3 p.m., our backyard was full. By 3:30, I got a text from a cousin. Half the party walked out. Your sister's flipping out. The video was brutal. Also, can I get the address? Back at the original party, I heard Tyler locked himself in the bathroom. I don't know if he was embarrassed or just overwhelmed. Maybe both. He's 12. I can't pretend he's innocent, but I won't pretend he's the villain either. He's a kid raised in a house that told him discomfort was more important than compassion. That's not his fault, but it's his choice now. As for my sister, she tried to spin it. She told people I am, her, that Mia was being used for attention, that I made her look bad on purpose. But here's the thing about video evidence, it doesn't really care how you spin it. People saw Mia's hands tying bows, her voice steady, her face quiet and brave. They saw the truth, and they responded. At the end of the night, Mia sat on the porch with her brother eating the last cupcake. She looked tired but happy. She asked, "Do you think they're still mad?" I shrugged. "Probably." She smiled. "Good." And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I had to clean up the mess. I didn't feel like the bad guy for standing up for her. I just felt like a mom who did her damn job. The text messages kept coming all night, some supportive, some not. I ignored most of them, except one from a number I didn't recognize. He said, "She's braver than most adults I know." I showed it to Mia. She nodded and said, "I'm glad we sent the gift." I clinked my juice glass against hers. "Best gift I've ever given," I said. I knew it wouldn't end with the video, not with my sister, not with how she operates. She's not the type to sit quietly when the mirror gets held up to her face, especially when it's playing on a tablet in front of 50 party guests. The morning after, I woke up to over 40 unread messages, group chats, missed calls, a few voicemails that started with, "I just think it's sad that," and ended with me pressing delete. Then came the email. Subject line, "We need to talk about what you did." I didn't open it. Didn't need to. I already knew what it would say. Something about how I attacked the family, ruined Tyler's special day, and made a public spectacle out of a private misunderstanding. Because that's what she does. She spins. She reframes. She makes herself the victim of the mess she caused. But what I didn't expect, what caught me off guard, was the second wave. The lies. She started telling people Mia faked being uninvited, that she was always on the list, that it was just a scheduling mix-up blown out of proportion by my emotional instability, her words. She told extended relatives I manipulated the video, that it wasn't Mia's idea, that I made her say those things to humiliate Tyler. Then she really outdid herself. She told a few mutual friends that Mia was going through a phase and acting out for attention, and that her disability had become a personality. That one nearly sent me through the roof. I thought about calling her, about writing a long response with all the receipts, the text logs, the absence of an invite, the recorded call. But I didn't, because I knew something she didn't. When you lie in a house full of windows, you don't get to scream when the truth comes knocking. And it did. Turns out kids talk. So do parents. One of the moms who'd been at the party posted a long note in a private parenting group on Facebook. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. It was about how we talk to our kids about exclusion, how easy it is to justify cruelty when it's dressed up as the vibe, and how silence makes you complicit. That post got shared a lot. Someone else posted a clip of the video with the caption, "She helped plan the party, then she wasn't invited." That one? The comments were brutal. "She's 12 and handled it better than most adults. I would have burned the whole party down." This is what ableism looks like in real life. Subtle, dismissive, casual, and disgusting. Tell her she's a hero. My sister tried to clap back, made a few vague posts about false narratives and toxic behavior disguised as advocacy. Didn't work. Because the thing about public sympathy is that it only works when people still believe you deserve it. She finally texted me 3 days later. "You went too far. We could have talked, but now it's beyond repair. Hope you're happy." I stared at it for a long time, and then I replied, "You uninvited my daughter from her cousin's birthday because of her wheelchair. You lied about it. Then you tried to make her look like the problem. We're not beyond repair because of what I did. We're beyond repair because I finally stopped pretending you didn't mean it. Walked? Done." I didn't need to hear anything else, and I didn't owe her anything. But she wasn't finished. A few days later, Mia came home from school with a tight face and watery eyes. "Tyler told people I edited the video to make him look bad," she said, dropping her bag, "and that I hacked his mom's email and deleted my invite." She wasn't crying. She was just tired. The kind of tired you feel in your bones when you've been trying too hard for too long. I sat down with her. "Do you believe any of that?" She shook her head. "No, but it still sucks." "It does," I said. "And I'm sorry." She nodded. I thought maybe it would be over." I didn't lie. I didn't say it would be. I just said, "People show you who they are, and now we know." We spent the evening making brownies. I let her pour the batter and lick the spoon, even though she said she was too old for that. She smiled anyway. A week later, her school counselor called me. Apparently, several kids, including some who hadn't been invited to the party either, had started a little club. Nothing official, just a group that eats lunch together and makes sure no one sits alone. They called it Mia's Table. The counselor said she didn't ask for it, but she shows up every day. She's kind. She listens. She's not just included. She's leading. I thanked her and cried in my car for 10 minutes before I could drive home. By the end of the month, things were quiet. My sister stopped posting. Tyler kept his distance at school. My parents called once, left a voicemail that said, "We hate being in the middle. Can't you two just work it out?" I didn't respond, because they weren't in the middle. They were just silent. And silence is a side. I quietly pulled back from everything. No more group texts. No more holiday planning. No more helping with just one more thing. I even returned the last invoice for the party to the vendor, marked it canceled by request, and left her to figure out the mess herself. It felt good. Not vengeful. Just clean. Like closing a tab that had been draining my battery for years. One night, Mia and I sat on the porch wrapped in blankets. She looked up and said, "Do you think it was worth it?" I didn't ask what she meant. I knew. I thought for a long time before answering. "Yes," I said. "Because I'm not going to teach you to shrink yourself just so other people stay comfortable." She nodded. "I don't think I'll ever forget it." "You're not supposed to," I said. "But that doesn't mean you carry it forever. Just long enough to know what you'll never tolerate again." She didn't say anything else. We just sat there and let the quiet settle in. That weekend, she got a new party invite from a classmate she barely knew, but who saw the video. The note said, "You were the first person I wanted to invite. You seem like the kind of person who makes things better just by being there." Mia read it twice, then handed it to me like she wasn't sure what to do with it. "Go," I said. She did. And when she came home, she had 2 new friends, a cupcake, and glitter on her shoes. She smiled as she pulled off the paper wristband they gave everyone at the door. It said, "All are welcome." She taped it to her bedroom mirror. Sometimes I still wonder if I went too far. I mean, Tyler's 12. A kid. And yeah, the adults made the real choices, but it was still his birthday. And what happened? It did ruin it. The gift, the video, half the guests leaving. That's what everyone remembers now. Not the cake, not the games, not the jungle balloons I paid for. And part of me thinks, maybe I should have handled it differently. Maybe I should have taken the high road, had a quiet conversation, let it go. But then I think about Mia. How small she looked when she realized she wasn't invited. How hard she tried to smile. How long she worked on those party favors, not knowing they'd never even make it to the table. And I think if I had done nothing, if I had stayed quiet again, what would I be teaching her? That kindness means letting people treat you like you're disposable. That being polite matters more than being seen. That her place at the table is always optional. I couldn't do that. Not to her. So I wonder, did I go too far? I'm really curious. What would you have done? Let me know in the comments. And if this story hit you even a little, go ahead and subscribe.